If you don't want to be called Nazis, stop doing.
You've been called an
Stop
anti-Semite more than anyone else's table.
Yeah.
And people would sit there and no, by me, I never called you an anti-Semite. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying I don't.
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians. So I'm used to it.
Yeah, well, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. The thing is that
you just say I should die?
You should not.
No,
Did you just say I should be killed?
No, I did not say that.
CNN?
No, I did not say that.
Hold on.
Did your guest just say I should be killed on live TV?
I said I hope
Guys,
you don't.
let me just stop.
You said you hope my beeper doesn't go off.
Because you said I'm a big supporter
of the Palestinians.
of Hamas.
Guys, let me
said
stop.
Palestinians.
Are you a supporter
Am I
of
what?
Hamas?
No, of course I'm not.
Ryan,
supporting
not.
Hamas.
I apologize.
Are you a
Then I
racist,
apologize.
violent person
Then I
inciting
apologize.
violence against
Ryan,
me?
Ryan,
That's disgusting.
that is completely.
No, I apologize.
That
Good
is
job, CNN.
completely
Let's have first
out
block
of
say the
pocket.
Muslim guy
You
should
know
be
that.
blown
Then I
up
apologize.
on
Then I
TV.
apologize.
Don't
Then I
say
apologize.
then I
Wow.
apologize. You literally.
say
I
it.
thought you said
accused
Hamas.
him.
I
You didn't think I said Hamas.
No,
I
you
said I
didn't.
supported
Yes, I did.
Palestinian
Yes,
rights.
I did.
Welcome to another episode of Seen and Heard podcast, and my co-host Miss Kenneth. That was I only played a few seconds because that's all I could stomach. But last night it was painful to watch that full segment, and there was another young black lady at the end of that called him out and said, "Well, basically like Mehdi Hassan said, if you don't want to be called a Nazi, don't do Nazi things." So. How do you think the Abby Phillips handled that? Like, I really don't watch CNN at all anyway. I just catch clips. But what are your thoughts about that?
Well, what I saw, I would say nobody handled anything. Everyone was talking over each other, and the host slash facilitator person lost control or never had control. So, once you lose control, it's really, really difficult to regain that control. And you have two testosterone nits on there who are trying to talk over each other. And you have, some females trying to bring it back and refocus it. As far as I'm concerned, it was just a waste of time. Even though it was only 57 seconds, it was a waste of my 57 seconds to watch it.
And in other news, updated news, election news, there have been a rash of Dropbox fires. So, like several of them have been. Let's see here. Fire set in drop boxes. Yeah, destroyed hundreds of ballots in Washington and damaged 3 in Oregon. I will post this link as usual in the description so you guys can read the full article. But yes, incendiary devices were set off Monday at 2 ballot drop boxes, one in Portland and another in nearby Vancouver, Washington, destroying hundreds of ballots, in which one official called a direct attack on democracy about a week before a heated election. Yeah, that's the scene is not good. It's let's see here. The scene is not good.
So just for grins, these drop boxes are just placed out on a street corner somewhere.
That's an
Looks like
example of one. Yeah. That's I don't know. That's KATU 2 ABC. I don't know. I think that's in Washington. But yeah,
Wow.
all over the country. And then Georgia, actually Georgia had some set on fire too, I believe last week. So this is what we're dealing with. This is why people keep saying that rally, that they're still trying to wash, is so dangerous. Because only one side, and this is no both sides of anything. Only one side is doing this.
How do you know that?
Well, let me pull up a picture of the guy. I think they got a suspect. They did get a suspect last night, and then they're looking for a black car in one of the other states, but a picture of the suspect is as expected. Let me see here. Um, are there where you are? Everything. You know what? I noticed that they lock up black hair products in these big box stores tighter than they do these lock boxes.
That's right.
So,
That's right. And a lot of stuff you have to go and ask for it, and they have to, go with the key and unlock it and give you what you want.
for everything, deodorant, for aspirin, like goody powders. This is a picture
Um,
of one of the suspects here.
Dove soap is real popular where I am with people of color.
Uh huh.
And for a long time, you had to go ask for Dove soap, and they had to get it from behind the counter. I think they've changed that now, but for a long time, you could not get Dove soap. Dove soap was something that, I guess we were worship, idolizing, and adoring. Could not get it. It was one of the hottest items that was being, lifted from stores.
Well, the guy that burned down the Phoenix ballot drop boxes has a serious mugshot collection. So this is his mugshot collection, and this is PD man arrested for setting fire to Phoenix mailbox.
That's in
Oh, that's
Arizona.
huh?
That's in Arizona.
Yeah.
So it's
So
Arizona, Washington, and Oregon right now,
yes, and Georgia. Like I said, I
and
think
Georgia.
yeah.
Mm.
So we're basically under attack. Our ballots are under attack.
Well, I don't care how long it takes. If I early vote, I'm gonna go stand in line. Now, the other day they were saying, be real careful about casting your ballot in person. Make sure if you decide to do the paper ballot in person that you take it to the right receptacle and you watch it be dropped in, listen for it to fall, the whole 9 yards. If you are in the booth, then you have to be real careful and be really uh, aware of what's going on. Make sure that every time you select something, it actually goes through. When your final card comes out, your data card comes out, you look at it, make sure all the holes were punched, um, and that when you take it to the receptacle to drop it, you stand there and you make sure it gets dropped. Now, I, if I have to go through this every time there's an election, I have to ask myself, what's the benefit to this whole process?
There are some places that have which I've never heard of. Obviously, none of this happened before Mango Mussolini, but there are people that are on in his crew or regime or militia that are standing outside of a lot of election sites with AR-15s.
Okay.
But like you said, how is this going to get resolved? I hope. I mean, all we can at this point is hope. But how is this going to be resolved? Because is this going to be every 4 years, every 2 years? People have to go through this. This is intimidation at the highest order and suppression.
Well, Donald Trump is 78. I guess he'll be 79 soon. Uh, so I wish no ill upon him, but should he win, he will be about 83 at the end of that term. And if something happens, if he happens to eat one of those E. coli Big Macs and something happens to him, then he has made a very strategic move in selecting someone who's not even, I don't think JD is, I know he's not 50. So this craziness could go on for a very long time.
And then we've got their groom and Baron, which is his youngest son. they're grooming him. So they plan on having this, like, they're going to try. If he loses the next cycle, they're going to continue to try to install a permanent, dictatorship.
Well,
And
Barron has to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
so this is like, I don't know why they're saying it'll be over after this. It's just like the last time after the insurrection. I said it's not over. Like for a moment, I thought it was over. Like we could relax, but then I saw how they weren't holding the people accountable. The people at the top that planned the insurrection.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was like, this is an ongoing coup.
Yeah, Steve Bannon did his little 4 months. He came out today.
What did he have to say? I saw that. I just saw
He
that.
didn't. I saw it. He had not made a statement yet.
Hmm.
Maybe I'll be lucky and not have to hear him talk.
We'll follow up on that when we see it. And then tonight, I believe there's another rally with Kamala. Is she in?
He's going to the space where Donald Trump made his speech, and she's
Wait.
on the in DC on the ellipsis of the mall.
Oh, okay. That's the spot where he had his
Where
supposed.
he called for the folk to quote unquote, take whatever appropriate action they needed to take.
Okay, to supposedly take the country back from imaginary people.
Well, I don't think he's talking about take the country back from imaginary people, because there's a whole lot of people in those little one-horse towns, in those trailer park towns. They are chomping at the bit to have Donald Trump back in office, because they feel that their white rights, their white privileges, their white entitlements have been stolen away from them with Donald Trump not being in office. And it's a boatload of them trailer parkers and those one-horse towners and those redneck communities, and they want their sense of white privilege, white entitlement, and white rights back. So
and on that note, I want to play this video. This is Ruth Ben-Ghiat, and she kind of speaks on the danger of the authoritarianism in Trump and his regime. So since I wasn't able to have her on the show, I kind of inadvertently I'll play this video so you guys can hear kind of what her specialty is and studies on authoritarianism. So this is a warning as well. So she explains. I think this is after the festival that he had in Madison Square Garden. So this is her response.
Probably one of the ugliest collection of remarks from selected speakers that we've seen at a Trump rally. You study this kind of rhetoric. So what stood out to you about this type of language this close to Election Day?
So, this took place in Madison Square Garden, and it was one of many occasions that the Trump campaign has chosen to allow comparisons to be made to the Nazis. So that was Madison Square Garden, which was the site of a rally by American Nazis in 1939, talking about polluting the blood, speaking of Americans as an enemy within. This is all straight from fascism. In fact, fascism, the core of fascism in Italy and Germany were combatants who followed their leader to bring the war home and turn their force against their own people. And when Donald Trump was talking about America as an occupied country and he was going to liberate it, and also, in the past talking about using the military on Americans, this comes out of fascism and also the tradition of military dictatorships like Pinochet in Chile. So it's a purely authoritarian spectacle that we saw.
I want to underscore that parallel you're drawing there, because this is what many are talking about today, both the remarks from Trump about America being an occupied country, but also last night we heard from Trump loyalist Stephen Miller, who said America is for Americans and Americans only. That, of course, was also another parallel drawn to that 1939 Nazi rally at the old Madison Square Garden, which back then promised to, quote, restore America to the true Americans. Ruth, we have to point out again, this is closing arguments time for the candidates. So why do you think this kind of rhetoric resonates with millions of people right now?
I think Trump has been conditioning Americans since 2015 to see violence as something justified in certain cases and even patriotic. He's been conditioning them to see other Americans as enemies, as diseased, as dirty. And what we have to remember is that, authoritarians might initially target one group, and he's been talking mostly about immigrants, but he's also calling the enemy within the political opposition. And when the Nazis built Dachau in 1933, because they were running out of space in prisons, they built this Camp Dachau. And they didn't put Jews in it at first. It was for the political opposition, liberals, leftists. Then it had Jehovah's Witnesses, then LGBTQ people. All kinds of other people went in there. And then Jews, were targeted as well by the regime. So when they're talking about deporting so many people in America, this is a massive amount of people, and thus you need an infrastructure of repression. You need camps, and the whole thing is a dystopia, and this is not what America is. But Donald Trump has been conditioning Americans to think that this is the way.
We've seen, obviously, these remarks strongly condemned by Vice President Harris and Democrats, but among Republicans, the response has sort of been a mixed bag. There's been some, like Senator Rick Scott, who's in a tight re-election race in Florida, who said in response to the comedian's racist remarks there about Puerto Ricans, quote, "This joke bombed for a reason." And then we saw Florida Congressman Byron Donalds, who also spoke at the rally, who said this on CNBC this morning.
This is the problem with most media today. They're too busy trying to fearmonger everything, except it's instead of actually talking about the facts and the substance.
So, Ruth, members of the Republican Party now also criticize Vice President Harris for calling former President Trump a fascist, saying that that is the dangerous rhetoric. Are those kind of remarks on the same level to you?
Not at all. And this is part of an authoritarian projection mechanism. I call it the upside down world of authoritarianism, where ever since Mussolini, he was the first to call Democrats the real tyrants, and fascism was going to be freedom. Fascism was going to make Italy great again. That was the slogan, as was drain the swamp. Trump took that from Mussolini as well. So this is pure projection to, and it's all the end game is to justify, to justify whatever they would like to do for retribution, locking up the political opposition by saying that they're the ones who are the tyrants, they're the ones who are repressive.
And your thoughts on the other side of that? I think you're on mute again. Okay, there you go.
The mudslinging in Trump has been playing dirty politics the entire time. And I think I said a while back, the last 2 weeks, you're going to see Trump pull out all the stops. Even with all that happened, the two things I'm most disappointed in are the comedian who would malign Puerto Rico. That's on top of Trump talking about the immigrants eating everybody, cats and dogs, rolling up in people's yards and getting their cats and dogs and eating them. If you can't think of anything honest to say about anybody, then my nana would say, "Don't say anything." Well, I think his name is Brian Douglas,
By, Byron Donalds.
Byron Donalds. Woo, that's a stretch. Byron, um, he, he is indicative of the Republican Party. It's party over country, not country over party.
And
And
party over his dignity because he walked out to the tune of Dixie.
Thank you. And party. I mean, that's offensive in so many ways, and it didn't bother him that he came out, swinging to Dixie. Although the rest of us hate to even think about anything that even sounds like something that is, indicative of Dixie, or any of those other little swamp like songs. So that if they don't win, we just might as well just, get our TVs, get our cup of coffee, beer, wine, whatever, and sit back because it's on, no matter how you look at it. And for Melania to come out making the circuits today, talking about her husband is not
Hitler.
He's a good guy. How much did he pay her to do that?
I
I mean,
was about to say.
what country did he buy for her so that she could come out and say that? And where are his children? In the last week, his kids still ain't out on the trail. And the only thing they done said about that little boy, he driving a car that costs hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's all they said about him. But he ain't show up at no rally, rolling up in there, gunning the engine for his dad. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. And you got go ahead.
No. What you finish?
You got countries just sitting on the sideline laughing.
Well, I was actually listening to NPR earlier, and I believe it was somebody that was a politician that was in England, and I can't remember his name because I was just kind of brushing my teeth and getting ready. But what he was saying was kind of like what with the news people here, Jeff Bezos and the owner of LA Times, they're cowering. These people are already cowering and bowing down to him. Now, from what they said on NPR, apparently he did not like Trump before, and he was very outspoken about how dangerous Trump was. But then he changed his tune like everybody else for many reasons, I'm sure. But then he's saying, I talked to Trump this weekend and I went to visit him and this and that and this and that. And he says, I figure I better get on his good side. That's what he was basically saying this morning. Mm-hmm. And then seeing the reaction from, or lack thereof, from Jeff Bezos as well. He's basically saying the same thing, like in his little statement in response to the boycotts. He said that he wants to be on the good side. Like he like he's expecting Trump to be the ruler of everybody. So, which that I'm not bowing down. I'm personally not bowing down to them.
Well, I mean, Trump, they're not sure. But if Trump says, if you don't dance to my music, click your heels and, raise your hand as high up in the air as you can possibly get it, I'm gonna throw you all in prison, and you're gonna stay there. Well, those rich white boys, they have somebody else do the dirt and go to prison. Jeff Bezos does not want to go to prison. Elon Musk does not want to go to prison. None of them want to go to prison. So what do you want me to do, Mr. Boss Man? Well, I want you, even Fox, I'm sorry, I'm jumping. even Fox, because allegedly he called up the people at Fox and said, hey, I need you to go easy on me. Don't come down hard on me. So my question is, how much money does Trump have? Because everybody think he's some multi-billionaire. I don't know whether he got any money or not. So if he don't have any money, and I don't know what kind of power he has, these guys are just cowards. Stand up and fight back. Whether you vote for him or Harris or whomever, stand up and show this country what you're made of. Fight back. You got more money than I do, and I'm going to fight back.
Okay, we're back. Sorry about that technical difficulty. Okay, you were saying about Fox?
Donald Trump allegedly told Fox, hey, go easy on me. Don't be out there putting a whole lot out there. Take it easy on me. But you got somebody who's multi-billionaire. What do you think Donald Trump is going to do? Hack into your bank account and take all your money or something? You can do whatever you want because you can prove that you're a multi-billionaire. I don't know whether Donald Trump is a billionaire or a penny-aire.
I doubt it. I mean, in name only or paper only or however that works. But on a good note, the reaction from the Madison Square Garden rally with the Latinos rallying for around Kamala, there was, let's see, Bad Bunny, which I know of Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
He has 46 million followers. J-Lo has over 300 million followers across all her social media. The Despacio singer Louis Fonsi, he has 16 million followers. Ricky Martin has 300 million plus followers just on Instagram. And together they have 315 million followers. Let's see here. There are 5.9 million eligible Puerto Rican voters in the U.S., 500,000 in Pennsylvania, 1 million in Florida, and 500K legal plus illegal Haitians in Florida and Ohio.
Well, if they keep burning down the ballot boxes,
that's why they're burning the ballot boxes.
They will be subtracting from.
Well, on that, we were going to close out, and we will get back together to talk about the rally that she has tonight, and Michelle Obama, I believe she's speaking tonight. So everyone out there, if y'all have any questions, if you would like to leave us comments, we have a voicemail, and you can leave comments. You can email us as well and let us know what you think of the show. And if you would like to be on the show, also, we are still fundraising for the end of the year. So all of your donations and support will be greatly appreciated. We also have merchandise. So if you'd like to get a coffee mug, t-shirt, pillow, a bag, this is season 2 cut, but we have season 3. We have season 3 merchandise. And we would appreciate your support. Like, follow, subscribe, and that helps the algorithm. And we will see you all on the next podcast. Bye, Miss Kiddies. Bye, everyone.
Good evening. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night. Stay safe. Stay safe.
Working on it.
Another episode of Seen and Heard Podcast. Please remember to like, share, subscribe so you won't miss our next episodes. And please consider a donation that helps with our programming, and we'll greatly appreciate it. Thank you.